How can you know whether you have been deluded about a matter? We certainly cannot know while we are in the midst of the delusion, and we can only know once we expand beyond the illusion and delusion and look from hindsight is 2020. If we are in the same delusion for almost a lifetime and never move beyond it, we do not know that we have been deluded. We can only tell through advancement, progression, and then looking back. What I'm about to say is going to offend a lot of people, a lot of egos. But in hindsight of my own advancement and progression and expansion in consciousness, I will boldly state that your relationship with Jesus is in fact a delusion. It is such a delusion of magnanimous proportions. It is the erroneous woe that has kept us cycling and looping in circles, never going anywhere. So what is the delusion about Jesus? It's the fact that we have adopted the concept that God would be one single man in all of creation. I was watching Morg's, the YouTube channel Morg, M-O-R-G-E, official. I was watching one of his videos about the language of God. And it is scientific. God is scientific. God is not religious. Religion and religious understanding is the delusion, is the deception. The language of God and God itself is sound, vibration, frequency, and light particles. And the entire creation, entire material world is created through the combination of those four facets, which are all energetic. And since God is language, the language of vibration, energy, frequency, and light, and like the ingredients in a soup, God is everything that we perceived manifested, that our mind perceives as matter. All of it is God. God is in this little rock. He is in the frozen snow. He's the snowflake. He is the white color of the snow. He's the dog. He's the trees. And I'm using he, obviously, in error because God is not a he. It is the most accurate pronoun for God. Everything we see is the formation of those four aspects coming together at different wavelengths and vibrations and frequencies. And this is why the religion that was formed around Jesus Christ is a deception. We've got so focused on that one single man that we remained blind to the God that is looking back at us in the mirror, the God that is reflected back at us in that bush, in that grass. We were conditioned into a one-track mind of worshiping Jesus while we trample and mistreat one another because we don't have the eyes to see that the others are as divine as Jesus is. Yes, this is a hard saying, to realize that in your worship of Jesus you have been deluded, but you have. And hopefully someday you will obtain the hindsight and the expanded awareness to say, yes, it's true. I spent my life in the delusion of following and worshiping Jesus. He's just a tiny speck of dust in the spectrum of what God is. Just like these pebbles. This is Jesus in the spectrum of God. And this is you in the spectrum that is God. If we focus on one individual thing or person or entity, that can never encapsulate God in totality and absoluteness. Jesus cannot. All of this, the snow, the rocks, the gravel, the sky, the chemtrails, are all aspects and facets of God. That's why we fight against God when we look at chemtrails and call them evil. It's just a manifestation of consciousness. It might be lower consciousness in people that think spraying those things in the sky and blocking out the sun is somehow helpful for the planet. It's just a lower awareness. But even the manifestation of a chemtrail is God. Do you see how vast and complex this is, and why in the ancient texts the Gnostics referred to God as the ineffable one, the undefinable one? Because God is everything. In the beginning was the word, the sound, the vibration, the light, and things came into being. And just like We are made in the image of God. We manifested in the image of God. Our words create every day. So what is your consciousness? Are you deluded? Do you need to progress in consciousness to experience a different picture and concept and manifestation of God than only the man Jesus?